Tony and Doug landed in the middle of a shelling during World War I. They're not even sure what country they're in, but at the moment they don't care. They duck into a cellar nearby, but a shell hits it and knocks them both out. That's when we see this. The name on that crypt is Nero. That shell broke open a wall and revealed it. I don't think Nero was happy about that. I hope he knows they didn't do it. As they start to come around, the sword returns to the casket.
What was that?
Something that wasn't as noisy as that.
Nero.
The Roman emperor.
No, Peter Nero, the musician. See? Now you made him mad. He's gonna bash you with a Steinway.
We better get out of here before this whole ceiling caves in. Corporal! The cellar! Take no prisoners!
Maybe we'll look for another door. They duck behind something just as one of those German soldiers tosses a grenade into the room.
I can't get a firm fix on them, General. Some strange interference. Another life force dominating the readings.
Maybe it's that soldier who threw the grenade? Yeah, I'm gonna say he's definitely the interference. If they can get him out of the room, maybe the tunnel can get a fix on them. A little extreme, but that should work too. But others will come looking for him, and they'll never believe who really killed him. Why didn't they use that door before? Was it not there earlier, or did they just not see it, or did Nero open it for them? I'm starting to think maybe Nero really has taken a shine to our boys and is guiding them through the place. When they saw his crypt, they showed respect, kept their distance, and didn't try to disturb it. That German soldier, by the way he was looking at the crypt, was hoping he could loot some treasure or something. Not respect. And Nero was big on respect, especially getting it, though not necessarily giving it. So maybe that's why he appears to be working against the Germans. I think that's ghost talk for do not touch.
These catacombs are centuries old.
How could these matches have gotten here?
Well, somebody's been in here recently.
The next question is, which way out? Back the way they came will take them to men with deadly weapons, so that's probably not a good idea.
Wait a second.
I think that's ghost talk for over here, dummy. No, I guess it was a distraction so they wouldn't see him open that door they were arguing with. There's a staircase behind it, so let's see where it goes. At least it leads away from here and not toward those Germans in the cellar. Truthfully, I'm not totally sure that's what happened. The sequence of events is they're fighting with the door and losing. The armor moves and they go look at it. When they come back, there's no door, there's a staircase, and neither of them acts surprised. So I don't really know if Nero opened the door or if our boys stepped into a plot hole. You've already seen the way this place is built. Why are you surprised? And you've already seen multiple objects move by themselves, so that also shouldn't surprise you. Maybe if you give the Roman salute and say, "Hail Caesar," he'll help you even more.
Thieves, huh? You've come to rob and loot. Well, there is very little left.
Wait a minute. We're not looters.
We took shelter in your cellar during the bombardment.
Your accents.
We're Americans.
They explain how they wound up in his cellar, what happened, and why the Germans will think they killed that soldier. Tony gets the gun from him, and they try to go back through the secret passage, but can't find the latch. And our new friend doesn't even realize it exists. No way out there.
I'm Count Enrico Galba. Let me do the talking. Patients, coming!
The year is only 1915, so America is still neutral in the war. Thus, he has no quarrel with the Americans. The Germans he has some issues with, so he'll try to keep them safe.
Thank heavens you are here, Major. Looters have been stripping my villa since the attack began. My guests and I had to lock ourselves in these rooms for fear they will murder us.
Searching the other rooms turns up nobody.
You are Enrico Galba?
Yes, I will not need this anymore. We are safe now. The Major will protect us.
Herr Galba.
You will address me as Count Galba, and you and your men will treat my guests and I with courtesy and respect while you're in my house.
You dare order me?
Well, yes, it's his house, he's Italian nobility, and you have no reason to behave like this.
You're my prisoners.
May I remind you, Kaiser Wilhelm himself issued orders concerning treatment of nobility.
With exceptions. Should nobility oppose actions of the Kaiser's imperial army?
He explains about the dead soldier and naturally assumes the Count or one of his guests did it. At least that's his excuse.
These men could have killed my soldier, and you can be shot for protecting them.
You will stop proving me wrong this instant. My Vina is bigger than yours, and you will never forget it.
They are American citizens, neutrals.
Americans?
Yes. When the bombardment started, Count Galba's servants deserted him, so we stayed on.
Smooth, Tony. I'm not sure even Galba would have thought of that one.
Major, use your famous German logic. If we had anything to fear from the Imperial German Army, wouldn't we have used the gun I give you? This is a large house, Major. The looter who killed your soldier must still be hiding.
And searching for him should keep you busy for a good long time, so you leave us alone.
So there will be no further suspicions while you remain here. May I suggest you lock us in this room?
You will be locked in because you are my prisoners, not because you suggest it.
This is a very good idea. Therefore, I clearly thought of it, not you. I am a man. Dude, see a shrink. You have issues. Too bad it'd be another 100 years before he might have been able to try Viagra. Of course, he leaves them with the "try anything and you will be shot" bit, because that's what these insecure guys do. Threats and intimidation to prove they're superior are all they have to define their manhood and compensate for what they think is lacking. It's pretty sad, really. They no longer wave guns around, though. Today, instead of Lugers and uniforms, they have Hummers and oversized pickups.
The insignia on the Major's uniform, signal corps. Obviously, they are here to establish a spot of post for their artillery. See, from here, every road in the valley can be seen.
The Italians will know the Germans are using this villa, so they'll bomb it out of existence, along with anybody who happens to be in it, whether friend, foe, or neutral. Let's go look for the latch on that secret door again.
Found it.
Some Germans may still be in the cellar.
You stay here with Count Galba. I'll take a look. If we can get through the cellar, the Germans may have a truck outside.
All right, but be careful. Don't try anything alone.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. We've seen again and again how level-headed and cautious and non-impulsive Tony is. In the tunnel complex, despite that weird interference, they've nailed down the date.
October 23, 1915.
The villa may be destroyed at any minute.
Their history records say that's the day Villa Galba was bombed to bits. But now they have a solid time and place, so can't they pull him out of there? I guess nobody's going anywhere until Nero's done with them.
Did you know that Nero was buried in the cellar?
It's an old wives' tale. You must have heard it from the villagers. No one has ever found his grave.
But I saw it. Nero's crypt was blasted open by an artillery shell.
And as that soldier found out, he's angry.
When I was a child, I heard of the promise that Nero swore when he was dying. He'd come back to revenge himself.
But he's not out to avenge himself on just anybody. His beef is with the Galba family. Enrico is a direct descendant, so he's going to be Nero's primary target.
If they find out Tony's not here, we're in trouble.
Go and see where that racket is.
Count Galba can't figure out why the Germans would be doing that since they have the key. The Germans can't figure out why the prisoners are doing that, but the Major sends a soldier to tell them to stop it. Guess who? Let me get this straight. Nero died in AD 68, apparently by suicide. He promised to come back and take revenge because Galba led the revolt that brought him down and made himself emperor. All records indicate that he was buried in Rome, but he was really entombed in this villa where he hung out and waited for over 1,800 years for someone to discover his crypt so he could come out and keep his promise. Because the wall he was behind was too strong for a ghost to penetrate, I guess. What does a ghost do for 1,800 years in a tiny coffin? You can only put so many bottles of beer on the wall, so what do you do after that?
Galba, you are the descendant of Emperor Galba?
Yes?
Your ancestor declared me to be a public enemy. He forced me to flee from Rome. He drove me to my death.
The key word there is ancestor, almost 2,000 years removed. But Nero always was a little crazy.
And now, Galba, you will feel the revenge of Nero.
Doug tries to stop him, and when Tony comes back, between the two of them, they subdue him just as the Major comes in to see what's going on. They explain what's happened and say he's drunk.
I will kill you. I will kill all of you.
Silent. Take him out. Wait.
He says, I suppose you think it was the ghost of Nero that closed that door.
See? No ghosts.
You do realize that by most common definitions, ghosts are invisible?
The wind closes the door and you superstitious fools shake with fear.
They didn't say anything about ghosts, Major. You did. They said your soldier was drunk. You're the one who brought up ghosts. And while we're on the subject, this place is closed up tight. Where'd the wind come from?
I want no more trouble from you. The next time I send a soldier, he will have orders to shoot.
Did that one have orders to strangle? This guy needs medication and lots of it.
What happened to me?
Everybody is going to assume that what happened to you was a few bottles from Count Galba's wine cellar. And with that gap in your memory, you won't be able to tell him differently. What's the German word for KP?
No matter what nonsense that sergeant said, one thing was real enough. He was trying to kill you, not a ghost, but a soldier. And maybe on orders from the Major, I don't know.
I would like to believe you. Better to face a living threat than... I don't believe in ghosts.
But suppose the ghost believes in you.
While Tony and Doug were fighting the German, the interference levels reached incredible peaks. There's some unexplainable force preventing us from getting a clear fix on them.
Unexplainable force? What are you talking about? Are you suggesting that Nero's ghost actually took possession of the German?
General, whatever the force is, it's making us powerless to help Tony and Doug.
I have a nice little principle for you to remember, General. It can't be, but it is. Deal with it.
This is from an ancient Roman account of Nero's death. It says that Nero's last words were, I shall return to kill all descendants of Galba.
Both of you, scientists. And yet, you're seriously discussing the possibility of the existence of a ghost.
General, because we're scientists, we can't discard any possibility.
You watched it happen, General. If you have a better explanation, don't just stand there.
If that was a ghost that took possession of the German soldier, then it's a murderous threat to Doug and Tony.
You heard the German say he'd kill Galba and anyone who stands in his way. General, we need help with this.
I don't think the Winchesters are available right now, so their second choice is a researcher from a university somewhere. You have to love the high level of secrecy around this project, since every week they bring somebody in to consult and expect them to go back home and say nothing. It's gotten dark outside, so it's time to make our way through that secret door and try to get out of here. Back at the tunnel, our expert has arrived.
Well, I don't know. I have studied many psychic phenomena, but this...
He's not off to a good start. General Kirk explains what's going on in the tunnel, Ray explains the interference, and he says, from what I can see, it's probably a poltergeist. In their natural state, they can't open locked doors, but they can possess a human to open doors for them. And do other things, like kill. Why does he only do this stuff when Tony's out of the room? Is he afraid of Tony? Does Tony smell bad? Does a ghost have a nose? Speaking of which, when was the last time Tony washed that turtleneck? Maybe that was why he isolated Tony. Thanks to some really strange editing, it's hard to figure out where Doug and Galba are. Somehow they got into the wider catacombs and now they're wandering through all kinds of corridors with Tony following them. And there's another problem.
Are the interference readings aligned with Tony's readings?
Yes, exactly.
Can you transmit a power surge 1,000,000 volts?
You'll burn him alive.
Not if the surge lasts only 1 millisecond.
Shock treatment.
Yes, it's worked with others possessed with spirits of some kind.
And 1,000,000 volts isn't necessarily lethal. It depends on how much current there is. 1,000,000 volts at pretty much zero current for a millisecond might make his heart flutter a little, but it's easily survivable. Voltage isn't electricity. Current is electricity. Current is measured in amps or amperes if you go with the whole word. How many amps you have is how much actual electricity you have. And that's the stuff that does the damage. So what's voltage? Well, its full name is electromotive force, or EMF. EMF is measured in volts. We say voltage because it's a lot easier to say than electromotive force. But what it means is how hard the electricity is being pushed through a circuit. How many volts you have is how hard the electrons are being pushed through the wire or whatever. This is why, under the right conditions, the measly little 12 volts in your car battery can be deadly. That puppy can put out over 500 amps. It may not be pushing very hard, but it's moving a heck of a lot of electrons. So I guess the only question remaining would be, is a ghost a good conductor of electricity?
800,000. 9. 1,000,000.
All right, keep it steady. Set your charge at a millisecond.
Ready.
Anne isn't sure about this, but she's been overruled. Here goes. That may be the longest millisecond you'll ever see.
The reading on Tony has dropped to almost 0. He may not come to.
What are the interference readings?
There are none. The ghost force has left Tony's body.
Unfortunately, the Tony force seems to have gone as well.
Maybe we can try for retrieve. If we can get Tony back here, we may be able to save his life.
Think, General, what happens every time you try to do this?
What happened?
I don't know.
You get the wrong person. You just retrieved an insane first-century ghost. They really need to fix the sights on that thing.
The ghost is somewhere in this room.
Where did it come from?
Where do you think it came from? You brought it through the tunnel, which is to say, you missed again.
His basic drive is toward Galba, the original Galba. Now, maybe with the time tunnel you can send him back to his own period.
Is that possible? Can he be sent through the tunnel?
You brought him here with the tunnel, so you know he can travel through it. Why is General Kirk asking such stupid questions? The idea is to send him back to the 1st century, not the early 20th. Just don't send him anywhere near his crypt, because if he meets himself, there'll be an ectoplasm explosion.
He's attacking the image. Retract the electrodes. We must get him into the tunnel.
If he's attacking the image, then he is in the tunnel. At least he should be close enough. Instead, he flips out and starts throwing people and objects all over the room. What else you got, Professor?
In the Middle Ages, they used torches to get rid of poltergeists. They retreat before fire.
We've got to try something.
Flame guns! To the control complex on the double!
Can't go through locked doors, afraid of fire. His poltergeists are kind of wimpy. It's good they're using the kind of napalm that's only designed to scare you, not land on the ground and equipment and everything else and burn the whole place down.
Hurry it, hurry it.
I'm trying. I keep setting the controls for 68 AD, but they keep slipping back to 1915.
Nero basically takes control of the tunnel and sends himself back to the villa. High technology of Nero's time was the aqueducts that brought water to various cities, so it's amazing that he's so much better at operating those controls than Ray and Anne are.
He's in this room.
He's so much better at it, he was able to send himself into a locked room, bring him back to 1968 again and offer him a job.
Nero, listen to me. Your revenge is a petty and minor thing. What is the life of one Galba when the enemies of the Roman Empire are trying to destroy it?
Or maybe Count Galba will offer him a job, drive the Germans out, save your land. Nero isn't buying it. They fight him for a bit, then escape through the secret passage. Does that mean Nero's locked in now?
Tony! Tony! He's not wounded.
Let's try to revive him.
Tony should be okay now. They can help him.
We've got to get moving. Through the cellar.
Just in time, too. How very fortunate. There are 2 German soldiers in the cellar, and they're having a hard time overpowering them. That's an Italian soldier. He arrived just in time. Also, how very fortunate. To be fair, when our boys first peered into that room, the Germans were shooting out the window at something. I'm going to guess it was him. Or it was he. It was that Italian soldier. I'm also going to go out on a limb and say they missed. The Italians know the Germans are using this villa for artillery spotting. The corporal says, "How many are there and can you lead me to them?" Answers, 1 squad and yes.
We've got them again.
And the fix is firm. Power building.
I wonder what happened to Nero's ghost.
We may never know.
They may never know, but we dang well better. The Italians storm the room and get everyone but the major. Yeah, but Nero doesn't know that. Here we go again. But the door's open, he can get out any time he wants to. What's his plan now other than kill Galba, kill Galba, kill Galba? Except those soldiers took Galba away to a field hospital. He's been showing signs of a heart attack this whole time, so it's not a moment too soon. As you may recall, I know that all too well.
We will drive the Huns out, and in the end, Caesar will return.
What is your name?
Corporal Benito Mussolini.
Mussolini was such a horrible person because he was possessed by the ghost of Nero. As I'm fond of saying, why not? What's our next stop? They need to learn how to say, "We come in peace," in about 100 different languages. Then say it.
Wait! I am Joshua, commander of the Israelites. Who are you?
Then I have a question for you, Joshua. Since you speak perfect 20th century English, why did you write your book in ancient Hebrew?
Joshua, a warrior prophet who brought down the walls of Jericho.
So the Bible tells us. But are we supposed to accept the story literally?
Anne is suddenly our resident skeptic. She says, all this proves is that a man named Joshua existed. It doesn't prove he miraculously destroyed Jericho. That stuff could be legends. Half an hour ago, she was telling us she can't discount any possibility, including ghosts. Now she rejects anything supernatural, presumably including the ghost of Nero that she just met in person.
I've always wanted to believe and secretly doubted.
That makes you a, what's the word? Oh yeah, human.
At last I'll know.
As a scientist, I don't permit myself to believe in miracles.
Miracles like ghosts, for example? Honestly, the hypocrisy in all this at the end of that episode is making me angry.
We'll see whether or not the walls came tumbling down.
We've met aliens and we've met a ghost. There's only one step up from there and we know what it is. Thing is, in 1967, you could get away with doing a Bible-based story like the one we'll see next time. And the Joshua story is one that Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike can enjoy and appreciate. And folks of other religions or no religion could watch it and have fun with the way our time travelers got injected into the story. Spoiler, you're going to love it. But you get what I mean. Most everybody could find a way to enjoy it, even if they didn't believe in the story. I can't help feeling like we lost that somewhere along the way. Maybe we could start up a movement. We could call it #ShutUpAndEnjoyIt. I like that.